They seem normal, kind, charming, maybe even protective. But what if I told you that the person sitting right next to you, smiling, helping, loving, could be hiding something dark? Evil doesn't show up with horns. It shows up as everything you ever wanted. And by the time you realize what's underneath that mask, it's already too late. In the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal 6 chilling signs most people miss. Signs that could save your mind, your future, even your life. These are not ordinary red flags. These are rare, disturbing patterns only the most emotionally intelligent people can spot. So don't blink, don't skip, because the most dangerous people are often hiding in plain sight. And you're about to learn how to finally see them. Evil doesn't scream, it smiles. Evil doesn't always enter your life in the form of chaos or obvious cruelty. It walks in quietly, smiling, helpful, attentive. It remembers your birthday. It checks in when you're down. It pretends to care, and that's exactly why it's so dangerous, because it doesn't come wearing a warning label. It comes wearing a mask. You see, true evil doesn't want to scare you, it wants to study you. It wants to charm you, win your trust, lower your defenses. It appears kind so that when it hurts you, you'll question your own judgment before you ever question them. That's how evil works. It rewrites your reality while making you think you're safe. You begin excusing the red flags because they once held your hand. You silence your gut instinct because they once made you feel seen. But what you don't realize is that smile was a trap, that comfort was bait. And by the time you begin to suspect something's wrong, they've already entangled themselves in your emotions, your trust, and your need to feel understood. You'll look back and wonder how you didn't see it coming. But that's because you were taught to fear monsters, not manipulators. You were warned about violence, not charm, and that's the greatest trick darkness ever pulled. It didn't roar, it whispered. It didn't punch, it praised. The ones who cause the most pain often walk in as healers. So don't just trust the warmth in their eyes. Look for consistency in their actions. Don't just listen to their words. Watch what they do when no one is looking. Evil doesn't scream its presence. It smiles gently, right before it devours your peace. And if you've ever been burned by someone who seemed so good, know this: your mistake wasn't loving. It was assuming that love can't wear a disguise. But now, you know better. And next time, that smile won't fool you. Because now you don't just see the charm. You see the intention behind it. The most dangerous people study you first. The ones you should fear the most are not the loud ones, not the obvious bullies. The most dangerous people are the ones who sit quietly beside you, observing, listening, learning you like a map. They don't fall in love with you. They fall in love with your vulnerabilities. They pay close attention to the things that break you, the silence you retreat into, the names that make you flinch. They learn where you've been hurt. They memorize what makes you feel safe, and then they wear it like a costume, like a perfectly fitted disguise. They become the person you always dreamed of, only to become the one you never thought would destroy you. These people don't just manipulate. They study, because evil, real evil, is strategic. It knows that to gain full control over someone's mind, you first have to earn their heart. And so they mirror your emotions, reflect your values, and act like they understand your soul. But the truth is, they don't love your soul, they're hunting it. They'll give you just enough comfort to keep you loyal and just enough confusion to keep you silent. They'll listen to you cry, not to comfort you, but to remember what tears you apart. And slowly they'll use your emotional blueprint to dismantle you from within. That's why it's so hard to walk away, because they seem like someone who knows you better than anyone. But what you need to realize is, they only know what they plan to destroy. Your emotions became their entry point. Your pain became their manual. But here's the truth. Once you see this pattern, you never unseen it. Once you recognize that not everyone who understands you has good intentions, you stop giving away your soul so freely. Protect your scars, guard your story. If someone connects too quickly, too perfectly, ask yourself, are they loving me or studying me? Because the most dangerous people aren't the ones who enter your life with force. They're the ones who whisper, who comfort, who blend in. They don't crash into your life. They gently walk in through the front door, holding everything you ever wanted, until it's too late. Not everyone who calms you is safe for you sometimes. The most dangerous person in the room is the one who makes you feel the calmest. The one who seems to bring you peace when the world feels like it's falling apart. But here's the truth no one wants to admit. Not everyone who calms you is safe for you. Some people don't bring peace. They manufacture it. They create the storm just so they can be the shelter. They hurt you in subtle ways, then console you as if they weren't the ones who caused the pain. It's a cruel trick. They wound you, then become your healer. And before you know it, you're dependent on the very person who's destroying you. That's not peace. That's emotional imprisonment. It's a slow, silent trap. One that makes you mistake control for comfort. You start believing they're your safe place, but only because they've isolated you from everything else that ever was. You stop trusting your friends, your family, your own judgment, because they become your reality. And the calm they give you, it's not love, it's silence. The kind that keeps you from asking questions, from standing up for yourself, from leaving. You think they've helped you heal, when in reality, they've just numbed you. True safety doesn't come with fear attached. Real peace doesn't need to be constantly proven. If someone truly brings you peace, they don't need to control you to keep you close. But evil loves to wear the mask of a savior. It plays the role of the rescuer while chaining you to the very pain you're trying to escape. So when someone feels like calm, ask yourself, do they make your soul rest, or do they just silence your chaos for a while? Because real peace will never come from someone who keeps you walking on eggshells. It will never come from someone who makes you question your own sanity. And once you learn that, once you finally feel the difference between manipulation and true safety, you'll never mistake temporary calm for real freedom again. You deserve peace that doesn't come with pain, and you deserve love that doesn't have to hurt to feel real. Isolation disguised as protection is a silent red flag. It starts small. They tell you someone in your life is jealous of you, that a friend is toxic, that your family doesn't understand you. At first, it feels like concern. It feels like love, like someone is finally protecting you from the world. But what you don't see right away is the slow, strategic removal of every voice that could wake you up. This is not love, it's isolation disguised as protection. And it is one of the most chilling signs of hidden evil, because it doesn't look like control, it looks like care. They'll convince you that they're the only one who truly sees you, the only one who wants what's best for you. And little by little, they'll distance you from anyone who challenges their influence, not by force, but by planting seeds of doubt. Seeds that grow into walls between you and the people who once gave you clarity. And soon you find yourself alone, surrounded by silence, dependent on the very person who orchestrated your loneliness. This is how they gain power over your reality. Because when there's no one left to question their behavior, you stop questioning it too. That's the trick. Evil doesn't want to fight for control. It wants to erase your alternatives, and it does that by turning your circle into a cage. But here's the truth. Anyone who loves you will never try to isolate you. Real love builds bridges, not barriers. It encourages connection, not control. If someone is truly good for you, they'll want you surrounded by light, by truth, by people who lift you, not just them. So if you find yourself cutting off relationships because of someone else's whispers, pause, ask yourself, is this really about protection? Or am I being pulled into a world where only their voice matters? Because that's not protection, that's programming. And once they've muted every other voice, yours is next. But here's the power you hold. You can choose to reconnect. You can rebuild what they tried to erase. You can walk out of the silence they wrapped around you and step back into truth. Remember, love doesn't isolate, it liberates. Evil feeds on your silence, so speak. Even if your voice shakes, evil thrives in the quiet corners of your life. The places where you hesitate, where you doubt yourself, where your voice has been broken down into whispers. That's exactly where it grows, because silence is its favorite weapon. It feeds on the fear that keeps you quiet. It relies on your exhaustion, your confusion, your need to keep the peace. It convinces you that speaking up will cause more damage, that you're overreacting, that no one will believe you anyway. So you stay silent, not because you're weak, but because you've been conditioned to survive. But here's what evil never expects: your awakening. The moment you decide that your truth is louder than their manipulation, their control begins to crumble. Even if your voice shakes, even if it's raw and unsteady, it has power. Because the second you speak, the illusion shatters. You strip away the mask. You disrupt the control. Evil can't survive in light, and your voice is that light. Every time you name the manipulation, every time you expose the lie, you reclaim a piece of yourself they tried to take. And no, it won't be easy. You may lose people. You may be called dramatic, bitter, ungrateful, but you will gain something far more valuable: your freedom, your mind, your soul. You were never meant to live in silence just to keep someone else comfortable. You were never created to shrink so they could feel powerful. You were meant to speak, to rise, to call out what is dark and deceitful. No matter how long you've been trapped in it, so say the words, tell the story, admit the hurt, call it what it was, because your voice isn't just your healing, it's someone else's awakening too. And once you speak, they can't control you anymore. You become fire. You become truth. And truth terrifies those who live in the shadows. Let them tremble, let them run. You're not here to protect their lies. You're here to break them.